Welcome back to Painting with People, where I paint portraits with people that are pursuing their passions. Today you get to meet Bailey. She is a pediatric ICU nurse who has practiced here in the States and internationally. While she's always known she's wanted to help children in the medical capacity, the road that she's taken to get to where she is today has taken many turns, something I think most of us can relate to. So here is Painting with Bailey.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So, have you ever painted before?
No, I mean, like, I did a painting of the NFL draft logo for my friend's gender reveal, but that was 2 solid colors, and it took me a very long time, and I had a ruler.
I can get a ruler for it.
And they were one shape. It was one shape. I was very proud of myself, and I did not go outside the lines. But freehand style, I've never painted.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what you do. Okay, if you were to have a painting of yourself hanging in your house, as one does, would you want to be looking at it, you're facing it, or what is Bailey? Oh no, I'm going to paint your face. That's cute. You're cute.
You probably won't be cute when I'm painting you, but you are also very cute.
Do you have a favorite artist or painting?
I am not the artist person. I do appreciate good art. My sister's probably my favorite artist, though.
Oh, good answer.
Anytime I look at something, I'm like, Parker, could you do that? Parker could do that. Parker could do that.
Parker could do that. Yeah. Aw,
she has painted most of my artwork in my apartment. She's like designed by Parker.
So Bailey, what do you do?
What do I do? Man, for a living. I do, because I do a lot.
You do a lot.
For a living, I am a nurse, a pediatric ICU.
Not NICU is...
Not NICU, as easily confused. But yeah, I do... Right now, I'm just in the pediatric ICU. For 6 years, I worked in neurotrauma pediatric ICU. But the unit I'm in right now is kind of combined. It's all one big unit, so.
Wow. You've also traveled a whole lot.
I do travel a whole lot, and I just booked my next trip.
Where are you going?
Excited. I'm going back to Northern Africa, and they're actually building a pediatric ICU unit, so I'm going to go train some nurses there for like 2 weeks, and then hopefully again a lot more times.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very pumped for that. I'm very excited. I leave in like 4 weeks. Yeah, I waited to buy my ticket.
Oh, by the way, I'm leaving the country.
Just for 2 more weeks. It's not like a 3-month stint like last time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just 2 weeks, so we're good.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really happy to be able to do something that I know how to do across the country.
I love that. I think that's so beautiful. Have you always wanted to be a nurse?
Yeah, I originally wanted to be a pediatrician, and then I wanted to be a pediatric nurse practitioner. But really the core of it is I just wanted to be a kid healthcare person forever. I just didn't know what all the avenues they were for that. Since I was about 7 years old, I think my dad still has the photo of when I drew a picture of me being like the nurse or the child care healthcare person.
Oh my gosh. That is so cute.
Yeah, so he still has that. We went on a mission trip in Fiji, and it was a non-medical mission trip, but there was a nurse practitioner there that set up a little tiny clinic. And she I use this one.
That's fine.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even see these. I was just so excited about all the colors. I was like, what am I supposed to paint with?
Yeah. The brushes.
All these,
you're
all these
mine's
brushes right over
finger
here.
paints. We're finger paints.
Right up my alley.
I mean, it would be a lot of fun. I forgot the color.
Like I said, I do work with kids. We finger paint.
Yeah, so you've basically always known you wanted to help take care of children in healthcare.
Yeah, in some capacity. Ever since I saw this one lady pretty much do it in the middle of nowhere. So,
I love that.
yeah, it was great. And then just worked my way until I graduated with nursing school. And then I was like, great, I did it. Now what? Where am I supposed to go? But slowly things have been happening. And so, yeah, going to Northern Africa, last trip was also awesome. But this trip to actually work with, hopefully, PICU nurses is crazy to think about.
Oh my gosh. So when was the first time that you traveled for nursing?
I went to Peru in nursing school. So I wasn't a graduated nurse yet. I was in nursing school there, and we did nursing things with other nurses. But my first time traveling just for pure nursing as like a skilled professional nurse was last year when I went to Northern Africa the first time.
And you were there for 3 months.
And I was there for 3 months, yeah.
And what all did you do when you were there?
I taught a semester of nursing school there. At the hospital, they had all their nurses start to go through nursing school. They didn't really have a nursing program when we started off as nurses. They just kind of got training and got thrown into the hospital. So they are now training people. And so I went and taught a semester there, and then also helped kind of get the ground running on a neonatal ICU there, which I would get floated to, but I'm not like a NICU nurse per se. Oh, this is gonna be hilarious. I
can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh man.
So do you see yourself continuing like traveling and nursing and like having that be a continuing part of your life? What?
Yeah, I want to be able to do both in some capacity. I think every time I go somewhere or talk to someone, I find different avenues that I'm capable to do different things. Because my whole life I grew up, I just thought I was going to be like helping clinics being built in other countries because I was unaware, and probably they weren't happening back then, that they were building full hospitals with pediatric ICUs. That just wasn't something that was ever talked about, nor that I ever like knew about. So, and I really think the medical mission industry is changing from going over and being the ones providing the care to empowering and equipping and training the locals that are there, and then moving on to somewhere else. So instead of staying, living, and providing care, they're empowering them to be able to do it without people coming. So
really love that. Yeah, that's like the ultimate sustainable.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why this nursing school is really cool, and all these schools that are going up everywhere is really cool, just because we're able to start at the nursing level, and they have other schools for doctors, and I mean, there's so many things that go involved with opening a hospital and equipping, but like now I don't even think I want to go back to school because there's just such a need for where I'm at right now.
Oh, you were thinking about going back?
If I did nurse practitioner, then I would go back. Or if I did like a master's in education, then I would go back. But just with where I'm at with bedside nursing and education in that area across the globe. And I mean, I love my job here. So it's like one of my dream jobs, I think. Still, it was my dream job when I started, and I didn't know if that was going to change if I had to go back to school. But I love my job, so I don't think unless something changes, going to have to go back because it's such a needed area in it.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to
You don't want to go back? That's so funny. I've had 2 interviews so far, and they both have their masters, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a doctorate someday.
Sure.
I mean, like, and here I am sitting. It took me 7 years to get a bachelor's degree because I just couldn't make up my mind with what I wanted to do. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sitting with all these smarty pants. I mean, you're also obviously a smarty
No,
pants,
but yes,
so.
not the doctorate. Oh man. Yeah, eventually I want to be able to kind of do this all over where I don't have to necessarily leave to help equip people. I'm able to still work here, and
Because you basically have to quit your job every time.
Yeah. So right now I'm just 2 days a week at my new PICU job. So I'm able to get like a Sunday, Monday, and then a Friday, Saturday. So I can have 10 days off to go somewhere.
Oh, cool.
So I'm able to kind of make the schedule work. I don't think long-term that will work. Like,
yeah,
my life has different seasons. Like if I ever were to have kids or whatever, I can just like leave for those 10 days. But
it's a little difficult.
it's a little bit difficult with the child, you know, like, so I think different things will look different. Opportunities are going to look different, but as of right now, it's really been set up great for me to be able to go for a short period of time or have time off to send over materials, or, you know, like, right now, I'm also kind of helping a online program that's going to be accessible to schools all over the world with like an online BSN Bachelor's in Science of Nursing program. So I'm helping create content for that, and that I can do from home. So like,
oh, cool.
I just have to be off work for that. So it's kind of, there's lots of different opportunities. I'm not exactly sure where all I'm gonna end up doing things, but
wow, I feel like there's just so many possibilities.
There's so many. And here I thought I was limited to a clinic.
Yeah.
And I was like, probably 2 years ago, freaking out because I'm like, okay, well, now I'm experienced. Now I'm coming from night shift to day shift. I should be doing something with my life to get closer to where I wanted to be. And I'm like, but there's so many options. So I almost felt just like paralyzed on like, what next do I do? Because there's just so many options.
Gosh.
So it was a moment for sure where I was like, okay, well, I actually met with someone who had me meet someone else. And he was like, basically telling me that there's an avenue for all of it. Just do one. And if it doesn't work, then you know that's not the avenue. Start with somewhere and then go down. So he
kind of helped.
Yeah. He helped
free.
He helped me free. I think his one comment that he made that has stuck with me is like, how much do you want to be in the will of God? And I was like, what? And he was like, how much do you want to be in the will of God? And I said, all of the much.
As much as possible.
Yeah, all of the much. And so, because my main thing was like, I don't want to mess up. Like, I don't want to like pick the wrong avenue or do the wrong, like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do because I've already done the part that I knew I was supposed to do. Become a nurse, become a pediatric ICU nurse. That's all I knew for sure. And the rest of it, I was like, there's just so many things. And so once he said that, he's like, you know, it's all about heart posture. You're in the will of God if your heart posture is in the, you know. So that was freeing. I was
That's
like, okay,
great.
I'll just start somewhere. Yeah. And how all the dots connected to where I'm at now, it's crazy. Like I couldn't describe how many things had to line up perfectly for me to do what I'm doing, and for me to even go back to this one place because I was supposed to go somewhere else. Like, and then that fell through. Things kept falling through, and other people kept giving me other recommendations or people to meet, or I want you to Zoom this person. How about you Zoom that person? So it's wild. Did you ever think you would have a studio on the square of Denton?
It was a dream. And now that I'm painting again, like that's just wild. So what was your childhood like? Where did you grow up?
My childhood Most people laugh at my childhood because I never know any movie or quote or song that anyone ever has to say. No, I was born in Oregon, and we moved to Montana quickly after, so I really wasn't there much living-wise, but my whole family, mom and dad's side, lived in Oregon, so we would go a lot. But we lived in Montana for about 7 years, and then we moved to California, and that's when we went over to Fiji as a family for a few months and did a mission trip there when I was like 7.
A couple months.
I was like 2.5.
Oh, cool.
We were there, so then we moved to California, kind of where the training center was for like that mission trip. My dad got on staff and was training other people to go on mission trips and stuff. So then we moved to California, and then we moved to another place in California. We moved a lot. And then in 7th grade, we moved here to Denton. I always wanted to move back to Oregon. I've always wanted to go back. So I tried so hard to do like a college degree over there, looking, but out-of-state tuition was crazy. I paid for school myself, so having to try to do all of that and not lie about my address, because I did ask my mom if I could do that. She told me no. Which is good. Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I won't commit fraud and use my aunt's address. It's fine. But then staying in school at Texas Tech, I went to nursing school, and which is another funny story, because all during high school, my sister was going to go to Texas Tech because they have a really good interior design program. And so I just told everyone junior and senior year, like, where are you going? Anywhere but Texas Tech. I'm going to go anywhere but Tech.
And then you went to Tech.
And then I went to Tech. Yeah, of course. I think I was just like, Parker and I are so similar. We both played soccer. We both did everything. The main difference became when we went to college and she was doing artsy stuff and I was not. But my whole life, I felt like we were together doing everything, and it was something I definitely had to work through, being Parker's little sister versus like being me. So I was like, I don't want to follow my sister. I want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Then I did follow her, and it turned out to be amazing because I had my big sister there, and Texas Tech is so big, nobody even knows her.
You're right.
It doesn't even matter. And now it's so funny because now I'm like, this is my sister, everybody. Like, she's like one of my favorite people. So it's just, not that she wasn't when I went to school, but I wasn't.
We kind of go through that, like, you want your own. I am my own person.
I am my own person.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then I went to Texas Tech. Then I tried to go to nursing school in Oregon because they're more private, and so a lot of them didn't have it out of state. And that didn't work out either. So then I graduated nursing school, and that's when I kind of hit a like wall of, okay, I've done what I thought I was supposed to do. Now I know I want to work at a children's hospital, but like I don't know where. I don't know like I could go anywhere at this point. Like I can take my license test anywhere. So I really prayed a lot to see like where I was supposed to go, and said, wherever you want me, I'll go, but I just want it to be obvious. And that was like a really hard prayer to pray, because then I applied all these places and I kept getting rejected. I was like, what is wrong with me? And, like, why am I not getting hired any of these places? And I mean, I applied for the most hospitals out of my whole 150 nursing school class. I applied for the most hospitals. I think I applied to like 15 or something all over Texas and one in Oregon. And it was crazy because people that I was a student tutor in school, people that I tutored, and I like actually know grade wise.
Yeah.
Just on paper alone, we're getting jobs and interviews, and I wasn't even getting interviews.
Wow.
And I was so stressed out, and I was like, I don't understand like why, like I know my grades are good. Like I know Like I've worked as a CNA since high school. I got my certificate. So I've been in the hospital and healthcare setting for 3 years, even 1 year before I even went to school. So what is going on? And God's like, didn't you tell me to make it obvious?
Oh my gosh.
Like, okay, yeah, but you didn't have to make it this obvious.
You're like, ouch.
Yeah, thanks. My confidence is a little busted right now, as I've worked so hard. And so then I got one job in Lubbock, and that was so far all I had heard back. And I was really ready to leave Lubbock. My boyfriend and I had just broken up because I was leaving, because we had had some difficult conversations on future stuff. He was a year younger than me and staying in college. And so I was like, I'm ready to leave. Like, why am I still here? But if this is the only pediatric ICU job I can get, sure, I guess, God, this is where you want me, and I don't know why, but I will stay. And it's like, soon as I made that commitment, like, not just out loud, but like was okay and content and happy within my heart, the phone rang the next day. And it was Children's down here in Dallas, offering me a job. And their process was so long of interviewing. You had to do a application online, and then you had to, and they're the first ones that closed their application. So they closed it months before other people. Then you had to do a video interview, then you had to do a phone video, then in person, and you just waited for weeks in between. So I just assumed it was done. And
wow, I had no idea it was the process.
It was such a process, and I mean, that was my dream job, being back down here. My brother became my roommate. I had a home here. There was people I knew here. My parents weren't here anymore, but out of all the places I applied, I was able to come back down to Dallas. And so that was just crazy cool, and just seeing everything that's happened, being planted with people around me. If I was in a different place, I know God would have done something else amazing. But the fact that it's here, and the people and relationships I've been with here, has been awesome. So
So when you were in North Africa,
yes,
you experienced some really crazy things, right?
I did.
Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah. Well, I did a lot of crazy cool things.
Yeah.
I was there during Ramadan, so that was one thing that I got to experience, and I was able to be with locals and kind of break fast with them, and that was really, really cool, just to be invited in their house and be able to just build relationship with them. 2 weeks before I left, though, my friend who had been working on, she had been living in another city, just kind of learning language and stuff, moved to fully kind of take over positions in the hospital and in the nursing school. And she was on a hammock on a pillar, and the pillar fell on her. So it was 10 o'clock at night, and I was staying up late to FaceTime in on my brother's wedding, because he got married in Chicago that night.
Oh my gosh.
And
that was what?
Yeah. So I had just drank a whole bunch of coffee. It was 10 o'clock. I was going to FaceTime in about an hour, around 11 o'clock my time, and pretty much just join in on the wedding fun festivities.
Yeah.
He had his COVID small wedding, so I was there for the super personal one, but this one just kind of
was the big party.
The big party, it kept getting pushed back, so there's kind of just no way to know when it was going to happen type of thing. But then, so I get this phone call that my friend's in the ER in our little tiny hospital of an ER.
Yeah.
Where traumas don't go, and where we're, training and trying to get a little bit.
Wait, so she went to the hospital. You were there.
So I lived on the hospital campus.
Oh,
and
okay.
she lived on the hospital campus, and the hammock was on the hospital campus.
Oh my god.
And so we just kind of, so I walked down there, and she had 2 brain bleeds, 5 broken ribs. She had a pneumothorax. She had like a lung, like problem. She had, just like blood everywhere, and like her face was so scraped up, and they called it a degloving of the eye, which her eyelid was like ripped up. But so for 2 weeks I became her nurse. But that one night was just wild to see. One, there were so many aspects that came into it. Because there's the people that are over there that are there to train, and then there's the doctors that they had been training, and then there's the equipment that we're slowly getting to in the hospital. And so she's like, you have 5 doctors in the room kind of having conversations of what to do next. Let's get CT scans. Let's get her to the ICU. Let's give a bunch of like meds and try to help her brain not swell, and just like all these things. And it's also happening to and from in different languages. And it's also 5 different doctors from different specialties that are not ER
like trauma.
And not adult trauma.
Yeah.
And so, all of that happening that night was just wild. And I got to see truly over the course of the 2 weeks, even though it was very hard and very unknown of like, what if we're missing something? We don't have a lot of resources. Trying to get her home to America to go see a neurologist and all of that was, it was absolutely wild. But overnight we saw a miracle, because like from 6 a.m. I stayed up all night with her, like drawing labs, doing all the tests, like all of these things, monitoring her. From 6, she was still out of it. We're still like monitoring everything. And then at 8 a.m. she was able to wake up and tell me she needed to go to the bathroom. So then I like walked with her to the restroom, because there's like not a really other good way to do that in this context. And she walked to the bathroom and went to the bathroom and then came back. She doesn't remember, she didn't remember for a full week, like what was going on.
Wow. But she did that.
But she did that, yeah. And so we were able to kind of like decide what would be the best care for her in this state versus the night before. Because in the middle of the night, you don't want to drive to a bigger hospital from where we were at. So it was just kind of like, we got to make it through the night type of thing.
Wow.
And like I've been on the other side where we're explaining to families what is going on, what trauma just happened to the brain and like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But like being in the room and having someone look at me and say that they need something, and me being like, oh, but that's like my friend. Like I had to like really quickly had to separate the fact that like, oh, I am fully equipped to do what they need me to do. But at the same time, like, I know those looks because I've given people those looks. So it's like, oh no, this is bad look. And then I'm like, oh, but that's like about my friend. So it was just like probably the hardest experience of my life. But an amazing like outcome. And I'm going to go see her. She's back there. So she's back. So we got her home and she did some therapy. We got her home. I flew back with her. The oncologist, or not the oncologist, the ophthalmologist, sorry. Whoa. That's a different story for a different person, but the ophthalmologist is like, you should have been blind, and you can use glasses if your eyes get tired. Like that's like, she should have been blind in that eye. That's like the least like horrible thing to have happen if bricks fall on your brain, and like you should have been blind. Okay, I could deal with maybe one blind eye out of all of that, but not even. She's not even blind. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
What a wild...
And for her to go back, it's just wild, because people are like, why is she here? Why did she come back? Like, why? And it's just like, just a testimony of like, one, God, one, like God using medicine, but too, like, just like when you have something on your heart and God has you somewhere, like, it's just like crazy. Nothing like that really happens there. So, yeah.
To become your friend's nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just culture barriers, differences, and also she's an adult, so like I'm just kind of like hyper paranoid because babies are really resilient, but they also crash a lot faster than adults. So it's just kind of like that balance of, okay, she is an adult. This we can do with an adult versus like, a 2-year-old. So just
I've never thought about that. Like how, I mean, obviously it makes sense when you're an adult, you react to things, but I knew babies were resilient.
Yeah.
Like,
they just like, once they get close to a cliff, they fall a lot harder and a lot faster than the trickling of an adult person.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Boom.
I'm not ready.
Straight line. But currently I'm in the process of applying for this volunteer gig also.
Ooh.
And it's probably one of the things I'm just like really excited about because it is, it's a heart project where you need to be a PICU nurse, a Christian comfortable sharing their faith, and well-traveled. And you go for like 6 to 8 days and you travel to another country with a translator and you evaluate a child who needs a life-saving heart surgery.
Oh my gosh.
And then you fly them to one of the pro bono hospitals somewhere in America. But you fly like commercial flight. So like you're their flight nurse essentially on a regular airline where you have to be like if things get canceled or switched, like, you're the person that will organize new flights or whatever, but then also, you can like call in if you're having medical difficulties, and then you just like have you and a translator for 6 to 8 days. You stay in like the village or wherever for 2 days, and then you fly them to the hospital, and then you like admit them to the hospital, and then you're done. And that's like 6 to 8 days. So if I have 10 days off in a stretch,
yeah.
So I'm working on that application, and that sounds really, really exciting. And
that sounds so cool.
I know. And they go so many places. And you can also be on the other end where you pick them up from the hospital and you take them home and you stay with them and make sure they get acclimated home. So either way, you're still like with them for the 6 to 8 days.
I love that. What a cool program.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay, so the timer went off.
All right.
So we'll do our final touches. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
That looks so good. What are you talking about? Bailey, I love it. The smile. I got your earring. I love it.